Of course I have passion for my 49ers.
I am not going to back down on this one. Sometimes I go extra hard just to prove my point.
No, you don't get to have it both ways.
It's head-to-head. It's mano-a-mano. It's 49ers face-off, where there were two people that were prepared to record today. One was not. He was going golfing, apparently, with Tiger.
Oh, dang. Hot dang.
I sacrifice for my friends. I turned down a great round this afternoon to be here with you, the faithful. So let's rock and roll.
Faithful. If you watch the latest episode of Big Yikes,
It's the opposite.
that's coming out today. It is not the faithful. So go check that out over on Patreon.
That was a great segue. It's almost like we almost planned that, except we didn't at all. That's just how in sync we are over here on 49ers Face Off. Even when we disagree, we still agree on a lot of the good things.
Make it happen.
Simpatico.
I love that word.
Good old simpatico.
I have a coin in my hand, which means it's probably time for the coin toss.
Always good coin tossing.
And I believe Jason called last time.
I think it was actually me last time.
Was it you?
It was me last time.
He lost.
Weeks are starting to get
blend together. Yeah.
But anyways, Jason, it'll be your toss to call this time.
Absolutely.
So what would you like to call? Sir?
Tails.
Never fails.
We'll see.
Except for today.
It failed last week.
It is tails, sir. So you are victorious. Would you like to go first on the first topic, or would you like Alex to take off with that?
I'll defer as usual.
Ooh, defer.
He says as usual.
As usual. There was the one I thought you took.
He's
but
received
maybe
a lot this year, actually, but it's fine. It's absolutely fine.
Wow.
I will 100% go first. It's all good.
That was creamy.
That was inappropriate.
Okay, so the first moment in topics we got to talk about, we haven't got into it at all on the channel because it happened, away from our recording schedule. But
Absolutely.
the impact of Robert Woods' injury, not only on the game but on the Rams this season, because they make the big deal for OBJ, and you're thinking, oh my gosh, they got too many weapons, and then down goes a weapon. So Alex, how are you feeling about this impact of the Robert Woods ACL injury?
Huge. It's absolutely huge for this Rams offense. This is a big, fat, huge blow in more ways than people realize, because they use Robert Woods in the run game a lot as a blocker coming in motion. You know what OBJ is not known for or been very great at in the past? Run blocking. Not
Or
a
even
strength.
trying to block.
Exactly.
Or
It's not
catching playoff passes.
that also is true. But look, he's not that. So you're losing a guy that is a big key piece in this. The only other guy on the roster that they do utilize a lot in those types of roles as well is a Cooper Kupp. If you're asking Cooper Kupp to be now a guy going in on the interior and taking that kind of beating and doing those types of things, that's taking him away from other things in your scheme with your motions and things of that nature where you line him up in space. Now it's a lot easier to key in on which guy is being used, what guy is in motion, and what that means for their schemes and their offenses and how they're choosing to attack. This is a big blow in more than one way, and more than, just a few ways. He is at times a security blanket, especially the last few weeks. Him and Matt Stafford were just starting to get on the same page. His impact as a runner as well is definitely going to be missed because they use him a lot in those fly sweep actions. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say that OBJ can't do those things because we've seen him do those things, and he can absolutely fulfill that role to an extent in this offense, but he won't do it the same way that Robert Woods does it. He's a different type of runner than Robert Woods is, and he's a different type of route runner than what Robert Woods is. Robert Woods is a big key piece of that offense, and they are definitely going to be missing what he brings to the table there in Los Angeles.
I think it will take them a couple weeks to adjust to this. You neglected to even talk about Van Jefferson. I think Van is kind of more along the lines of OBJ. He's not going to get out there and muck it up like old
physicality-wise.
Bobby Trees did very often. So
hence why I didn't need to mention Van Jefferson because he doesn't.
He's a good receiver though, and if we're not careful, he's going to cause us a lot of fits.
In the receiving game.
Yes,
absolutely.
Because he likes
not as a blocker.
He likes to go deep, and that means that we actually have to cover guys too. So, but
do you have to cover guys, Jason?
Have you seen that interior line?
Specifically, back to Robert Woods.
Okay, nice.
Back to Bobby Trees. Got it.
Yeah, Bobby Trees. I think that's one of the better nicknames in the whole league, by the way, too. But
okay.
I pretty much agree with everything you said. Unfortunately, I don't think it's it definitely does not help them. It definitely is a negative for them. And can the Niners capitalize? I think if we're going to capitalize on it, it would be this time that we play them, not necessarily the next time, because depending on how the games keep on going, that last game against the Rams could be important for both them and us. But by then, I think McVay will have adjusted to Woods being gone. Odell will be comfortable in the offense by then, and it won't be as bad for them as it's going to be this first game. Much like what we saw with Arizona last week, not really having prepared for Colt McCoy, didn't go well. This week, the Panthers had film on them, and obviously they beat the brakes off the Cardinals.
They also have a completely healthy defense except for one corner.
Yeah, but they also have a very shaky O-line too, which yet they let Cam and PJ Walker do their thing very well today. And McCaffrey got hurt again, which isn't a shock, fortunately.
Look, listen, while I agree with you that, I think this would be the biggest opportunity for the 49ers in this game, I disagree with you on OBJ's impact and what he's going to have, because he hasn't proven it. I mean, he's been absolutely. No, you said that OBJ, by the time we get to the next time the Niners roll around, he'll be more comfortable in the offense, and they'll figure out how to use him. And
yes.
I disagree. I don't know.
So Sean McVay's not going to have any clue how to do anything.
It's not about Sean McVay. It's about Odell Beckham. What is Odell Beckham now? I'm not convinced that Odell Beckham still has it figured out. I think the problem with Odell Beckham has been Odell Beckham. I don't know if it's been the Cleveland Browns. I don't know if it's been the Baker Mayfield situation. I'm not convinced of that. I've watched more film on OBJ since the trades happened, and I don't see a lot of OBJ getting open in space. I don't see Odell Beckham being a guy that wins consistently right now. He hasn't been doing it. He doesn't look like the old version of Odell Beckham, and I don't know if that guy exists anymore. Now, maybe Sean McVay can unlock it, and Sean McVay is definitely a better schemer than Stefanski is, I think, with his talent. So I think Stefanski...
Especially for passing game.
Well, Kyle McVay is from the Kyle Shanahan scheme, right? So this is a strength of theirs, getting receivers opens in space. So this could be a positive for Odell Beckham, right? The question I just asked, and the answer is could be. Could be a positive for Odell Beckham. Time will tell. I'm not willing to throw my hat in the Odell Beckham in this.
I'm wearing a hat
in a couple of weeks. Well, guess what? I don't wear hats. I don't throw mine into the ring. And if I wanted to throw it into the ring, I would grab one and throw it in. I have no hat around, no hat nearby. I have no plan to throw a hat in this ring. Odell Beckham's going to have to prove it. He's going to have to demonstrate it on a week in, week out basis. I'm not there yet. And the Robert Woods injury is going to be a major impact on this Rams offense all season long.
Your guys' comments on this had a major influence on me now, and I feel terrible. But we've got to get into more of these topics about the Rams. Jason, is there a Rams weakness that the 49ers can target and exploit? Do you think that they could take advantage? Oh, so you're going straight to the Rams linebacker. Go ahead. You're the first guy. Go ahead.
Yes, linebacking core. That would mean that I want to see us getting some screen passes and some swing passes out to Elijah, where he can really attack the linebackers. Debo off a screen or something where we have him in the spot where he's on a linebacker. They have to attack the linebackers. And by God, Jimmy, do not throw anywhere near Jalen Ramsey, whoever he's covering. Avoid him. I don't even want to see him anywhere. Just it's.
Are you that guy? Are you that guy in Madden when they ask you the game plan this week? We gotta play Jalen Ramsey, and you're like, what do you want to do? You want to be aggressive? Do you want to be like neutral, or do you want to be passive? And you're like, neutral. Okay, got it. So we're gonna throw the football, but we're not gonna throw anywhere near Jalen. Got it.
I think doesn't it determine, Jason? Wouldn't you go after Ramsey if a certain guy is on him, like a certain matchup? Isn't there certain situations you could go after him?
I'd go Kittle on him, yes, because the
big body
shown that. Yes, his size Ramsey can't contain. If they, maybe Sherfield going deep on him because he every once in a while he's a little suspect going deep.
What about Travis Benjamin going deep? But do you think Jalen would actually cover somebody like a sure fielder then? Wouldn't they just keep him on Ayuk or Deebo Samuel or George Kittle?
More than likely, I would expect them to have him just play one guy and just
the whole game, not switch between Deebo and Brandon depending on situation?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I think Jalen is the type of guy that wants one guy, whether it's, and my guess is probably Deebo because he's our number one. So I would expect him to spend a good chunk of the time following Deebo. So this is the game where Ayuk has to really step up and continue his improved play that he's had the last couple weeks as well.
That's an interesting point. Okay.
I see, if anything, I see Jalen Ramsey actually shuffling between two guys, which would be Deebo or Kittle. Those would be the two that I would ideally see them matching him up on when they get the opportunities to. But I actually have two weaknesses. I have two areas where I think the 49ers can attack. The first is the D-line aggressiveness, the aggressive play that they have. Aaron Donald has shown on film that he is a guy who flies downhill. So traps, counters, whams, things of that nature, all are going to have opportunities to have success, as well as screens. You catch him off balance at the wrong time, coming in hard downhill.
Run skill.
You're going to be able to have those opportunities to get those big play opportunities, get guys flowing. And like you said, this linebacking core is weak, so now you're putting these linemen out in space against a weak linebacking core. Opportunities for big plays and big success on little dump-off stuff, whether that's traps, whams, bams, blams, or it's screen passes. Those things are all...
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, basically. Those things are all important for the 49ers offense to be able to do to have success. The other thing that could... John Van Dam, indeed. Another thing that could be a good thing for the 49ers is if you're going to have Jalen Ramsey playing on Deebo Samuel, manning up and matching up against him, then opportunities in the right situations with the right schemes and right formations where you get those man looks, getting yourself into these fly sweep sort of actions with Deebo, where Jalen Ramsey's effectiveness is essentially taken off the field because he's going to have to run across the formation and run across the field with Deebo, and you have blockers out in space in front who can get him to the edge or help him get outside. I mean, you take Ramsey's effectiveness of the game, of the football field, and be able to cover a guy on pass plays, you make him shorter pass plays and things of that nature where you're able to get some positive yardage and get upfield. It's going to frustrate him because he's going to feel like, oh, well, yeah, you're throwing on the guy that I'm covering, but I'm not able to do anything. And if you're able to do that consistently, it's going to get him agitated. He's going to want to make more plays. And the more he presses, the more opportunities open up for potential mistakes to be made and for the 49ers to capitalize. But the big one for me is this O-line of the Rams, their interior O-line specifically, which is hot garbage. It is hot garbage. It is not very good. And Eric Armstead has been consistently dominating week in and week out now, especially since they moved him in on the interior. It's even more noticeable, and the sacks have started to pile up now for Eric Armstead. And his ability to get to the quarterback is becoming more and more apparent. His arm over move is one of the best in the leagues, next to Aaron Donald's. Like it's that dominant.
I think it's better than Donald's technique, but Donald is more physical.
And he's more Donald's more explosive, more explosive, 100%. But Eric Armstead is going to be able to feast there. Nick Bosa should then also theoretically be able to feast. And Samson Ebukam the last few weeks has started to slowly show more and more why the 49ers invested in this guy. He's becoming very, very effective in run situations and run stops. He's starting to get better with his technique and getting in more consistently on pass situations and pass downs. DJ Jones is constantly and consistently a problem. The 49ers interior is going to have an opportunity this week to have a lot of opportunities to win a one-on-one against these guards. And I think they can, and I think they will. And that's going to cause problems for Stafford, who's hobbled with the foot, hobbled with the back, slowed down a little bit, and who struggles throwing on the move. He's been struggling the last few weeks throwing on the move. Last week it was very apparent. He struggled on the move against the Tennessee Titans. If the Niners can get this guy moving and trying to throw, then they're going to be able to have a lot of success and a lot of opportunities to have big, huge plays, create turnovers, force bad throws, and capitalize. But I think it starts there. I think that's the biggest weakness that the 49ers can exploit because it's also where one of their bigger strengths lies.
I have a question for you guys. Jason was talking about Jalen Ramsey taking away one guy, which in theory, right, is a great idea. You take away, for instance, if it's Deebo, he's got over 800 yards receiving this year. You take him away. Thematically, do you think that is also a huge advantage for Kyle Shanahan? Because Kyle Shanahan say, okay, you can take Deebo away with your best player, but that also means you're not going to have Jalen Ramsey where you don't want him. So if you want Jalen Ramsey to stay outside, you can put Deebo outside to the left, and you can operate from the middle all the way to the other side of the field with multiple receivers and motion and movement. Do you think that's something that's a disadvantage for the Rams and an avenue that Kyle Shanahan could attack? Or could you also put him and have Deebo sit down right in the middle? Now you can attack on both sides of the field. Do you think that's a major advantage for the 49ers?
Yes, it is a major advantage, but I also think that the Rams are just cocky enough of a team to think that it won't be as big of an advantage for Kyle to counteract as it actually is.
Okay. I like that. I actually really like that for my prediction of score now. Thank you.
38 for San Francisco, if I'm not mistaken.
Bingo, bango, lock it up.
No, and I agree. I agree there, Jason. I think this is going to be a huge advantage opportunity for the 49ers. I won't say that the Rams are arrogant enough to do it. They're not, like, it's not an arrogance ego thing. It's a, the Niners are a rhythm team. Debo has been a guy who's helped them establish the rhythm. So let's try and find a way to just completely lock him down and force you to beat us elsewhere, right? The 49ers did this with Justin Fields. They sat off and cushioned, said, all right, Fields, we know you have the arm. We've seen you, try and take deep shots. Let's see if you can find the underneath guy and try and beat us that way. Fields wasn't able to do it consistently, and the 49ers escaped with a win. It's a similar kind of premise, different, obviously, type of execution. And they're definitely not just going to sit deep and then just let things come underneath. They're going to, press and attack, bracket some guys, in certain situations to get Jimmy off his reads, disguise their coverages. But they're going to try to do everything they can to keep the ball out of Debo's hand.
You would think so. And the movement that Debo, before I get to our next point, the movement that Debo can do behind the line of scrimmage, the way that you can move him, throughout the offense, is going to help in a big way. And if Jalen Ramsey is covering him, you can get him open still by moving him across the formation and all that stuff.
Talked even to see him behind Jimmy and even take a couple of handoffs even too, just to
100%. I mean, so far, he's had big games against the Rams in the past.
Yeah,
absolutely. And it didn't matter who the defensive coordinator was. If it was Brandon Staley or before Brandon Staley,
yep.
it didn't matter. And the next question is about a running back. You bring up Debo going back there, but we had Elijah Mitchell. He's been the bell cow for the 49ers now for a few weeks, and we know he had the injuries, but he's been the guy. But Jeff Wilson Jr. came back. He was activated last week. They did not use him. Kyle Shanahan said he fully expected. I know this one's going to Alex first. He fully expected Jeff Wilson to play last week, but the fact that they ran 5 and 6 defensive linemen consistently, he changed and knew he needed to throw the football. Obviously, once they got down, they knew they needed to throw the football to catch up. What do you think the impact of Jeff Wilson Jr. will be? Do you think he's going to get on the field, and do you think he can make an impact in this game to help the 49ers beat the Los Angeles Rams?
Yes, and the reason is because in short down situations on third down, he's a completely different style runner than what we've seen out of JaMychal Hasty. So now, when you get into these third down situations, 3rd and 2s, and things of that nature, where we've got a lot of gun, right? You've got inside leads and things like that to JaMychal Hasty, and you're looking for him to find that jump cut and get upfield, or even when he's, when you're asking him to get downhill and be explosive and get through the hole and body up, it's not the same kind of bodying up that Jeff Wilson Jr. does and that Jeff Wilson Jr. has demonstrated. So now you have a variety of different ways in which you can come out there with your formations with Jeff Wilson. You can stick in your traditional, eye back, staggered eye, strong eye, weak eye looks with Jeff Wilson, with Kyle Juszczyk out there in space, and bring a guy across the formation as well, or pull some guys through the hole, and know that if Jeff Wilson is one-on-one with one of these weaker linebackers, he's going to probably win more times than he's going to lose. And he just needs to win on those third down situations, those 3rd and shorts and things of that nature, or 2nd and shorts and things of that nature, to keep the sticks moving. I'm not asking Jeff Wilson, and no one I think right now would be asking Jeff Wilson to go, hey man, we need you to have 10 carries for 125 yards.
I am.
You know what I need?
Not?
You know what I need from Jeff Wilson Jr.?
Why can't we ask that?
We can ask that, right? You can ask it, but what we really need from Jeff Wilson Jr. is
free spoken
6 carries for about 15 yards, where you're picking up close to 3 or 4 yards a carry, and those 3 or 4
6 for 15.
Yes,
that's not.
Listen to me, guy.
3 or 4 yards a carry there, Matt.
I'm aware that it's not 3 or 4 yards a carry, my guy. The point that I'm trying to make here is what we need from Jeff Wilson is him to convert on short down situations.
So you're saying he's going to play all short yards.
Those are the situations that I expect him to be in. That's the impact. It makes
more sense now.
I expect that's the impact.
Puzzled.
Yes, I expect him to have an impact in the short yardage situation. I don't expect him to have an impact on 1st and 10, things of that nature. 3rd and 8, coming in and running the football. No. I expect Jeff Wilson to be a guy they bring in on short yardages to come in and get the yards we need, be physical, be the explosive runner that we know him to be. And you know what? If you get anything extra out of him, right, you get anything extra out of Jeff Wilson in this game, then it's a plus for the 49ers. But if you have 6 third down and short situations and you're able to hand it to Jeff Wilson and he converts on 4 or 5 of them, guess what? That's a positive thing for San Francisco, who struggled on 3rd and mediums, 3rd and shorts to continue drives and keep drives moving.
We need Jeff for more than 6 carries. Jeff should be getting 10 to 12
Get that mic up, guy.
this week, 10 to 12 carries this week, because we need that hammer back where that we can actually run up the middle, can break a tackle, because Lord knows that our interior line, not especially on the right side, hasn't been that great either.
I'm glad you clarified on the right side.
So we need to make sure that it's not just boom, one guy hits him and he goes down. Jeff can actually break a tackle, turn what would have been a 1 or 2 yard play off the bad blocking into a 4 or 5 yard play by breaking a tackle or two and actually being productive. I've been waiting for him for a long time, because I haven't been overly impressed by Hasty inside, and that could be partially him, could be partially the O-line too, but he's not breaking enough tackles, and so I'm glad that Hasty's back. If we have a chance tomorrow night, he needs to be, like I said, 10 carries for 65 yards and a touchdown, and that will be something that will help us to win.
10 for 64 and a tutty. Okay.
Okay, and after John Lynch's comments, I'm going to ask you both. It'll be just a little quick answer thing. After John Lynch's comments about Trey Sermon playing in this game because of the JaMychal Hasty injury, how much, play-wise, you guys think we'll see of Trey Sermon?
10 snaps.
Maybe 5 or 6.
Okay. Yeah,
I don't think he's going to be out there that much.
He's not going to be out there on third downs. I don't expect him to be out there.
And do you expect him to be out there on first and second instead of Elijah Mitchell?
I think on a couple of drives. I think that's why it gets to 10.
Okay.
I think you have a couple of drives where you get like a first down carry, maybe a second down carry, something like that.
Yeah.
You get yourself in a third and short or something, and you have Wilson come in, he extends a drive. Sermon goes back out there, and he gets a couple of drives to get extended, and that's why I think it ends up being like 10 snaps.
Okay. I like that. I'm going to go with 3. I think they run him out there a couple of times just because John Lynch said it on KNBR. Because he hasn't showed it yet, and I hope he does. I hope he shows something.
John Lynch has been a star the last couple weeks on KNBR.
Star or
doing a great job.
Saying too much.
Hey, it depends on your point of view.
All right.
I mean, do you like him calling out Fred?
See, this is
changing.
Not that I necessarily like it per se, but it gets back to what I texted you guys after listening to what Mr. Steve Young had to say.
Oh boy,
last Wednesday when Jerry Rice said, "Yo, man," because Jerry's at every game. He's on the field all the time. Like cool. He's not no damn Joe Staley. So when the greatest competitor,
so he's not an offensive lineman.
Thanks for that, genius.
I'm just asking. I mean, that you were making a statement. They're both in and around the football team.
If we're talking about people who are complete dogs, Jerry Rice is one of the all-time dogs of this sport. No one works harder.
So is that what it is? Work ethic makes you a dog?
No, but just have that intensity that.
So Quan Alexander was a dog.
When he says, well, he's not here anymore. So
asking for a friend.
When he says that, when he tells Steve, these guys need some more dog in them. I'm sorry, but I'm inclined to listen, Jerry, on a lot of things. So if we look at what Jerry said and we look at what John has said.
Hey, Jason, quick question.
Go on.
Does making you being one of the greatest players of all time, does that make you a great evaluator of talent or breaking down understanding of talent or a team or a dynamic or an individual player? You
know how locker rooms are because
are you gonna answer the question?
So Joe Staley wasn't in the locker room to know what locker rooms were.
No, but no. You yourself said that Joe should quote shut the hell up.
I said it about Steve as well, and I'm going to say it about Jerry as well.
They all three should.
Why?
Because even though they understand what is going on in the locker room, the setting, the environment,
they know
some of the statements that they're making. Think about this: because you were about to attribute John Lynch's comments to Jerry's statement about dogs, and say that Fred Warner's not a dog. Have you seen Fred Warner play football?
I'm not.
He's an absolute dog.
He's the epitome of dog.
He is the pit bull of that defense.
100%.
Right.
Nick Bosa's more passive, but Nick Bosa, when he plays from snap to snap, is a dog.
Armstead is a dog. DJ Jones has been a dog.
A dog.
Jimmy Ward and Jaquiski Tart have been dogs.
I want to know what your definition of dog is.
Well, if you go by what those guys have all said, it's essentially someone in the locker room that stands up and says, "This blankety blank ends right now. Get your in gear and let's go play.
So what
See, that
Kyle
doesn't-
Juszczyk did to Brandon Ayuk.
What?
What Kyle Juszczyk did to Brandon Ayuk. He got in Brandon's face. They had words during the bye.
Right.
And then
And
Brandon Ayuk showed
it
up.
has worked out pretty well.
So he's a dog.
Someone.
According to your definition, he's a dog.
So
They're a week late. 2 weeks late.
So there's one then.
It's all you need is one. Have you ever seen a pack? They don't have multiple leaders. They have one.
One dog.
One dog. So if you're going to use the reference
alpha.
dog, you only need one.
Pack of dogs. I mean,
You have a
Pack of
pack,
dog?
you have a pack of dogs, but there's one alpha.
One alpha.
right.
Always one alpha.
Mhm.
You can't have two alphas.
In fact, they strategically place
so if
different members
if our
by
alpha
age and everything throughout the pack.
is a fullback,
Oh, so now it's the
No.
position that matters.
whatever,
Now the position is what matters.
normally it'd be a quarterback,
dog.
but Jimmy has no cred because he's not going to be here.
Wait.
So-
Normally, now it's by position. It has to
No.
be a certain. Then why'd you go to that argument?
You're the
You're
one
just
who
mad
brought it up.
because
I'm not picking out fullback because
I'm
it's the
saying that
fullback. You said it.
on a team, the fullback being a dog is very different, especially in today's game because hardly no other teams use fullbacks too. So
But on our team, it carries tremendous weight. Kyle Juszczyk's been there since 2017.
He's the
He
only guy.
he helped establish that entire.
then why
locker
are
room
these
like how it
guys
is.
continually saying that then?
Steve Young also wanted to fight his head coach when he played.
He was nuts. I know, but he's also a Hall of Fame quarterback who knows.
What is Hall of Fame have anything to do with it? It's an argument from authority, Jason. It
They're
doesn't mean
winners.
anything.
They're
Doesn't mean
winners.
anything.
Oh
Okay,
my God.
They won.
Dan Marino, Hall of Famer, excellent in the front office. Then,
No,
oh, okay. Irvin Magic Johnson, excellent.
as a coach, no. In
Michael
terms of-
Jordan,
as a GM, no. As an owner, yes.
It's an
Mike
argument.
Singletary,
It's an
terrible
argument.
coach,
all Hall of Famers. Complete dog though, right?
right?
Okay, cool. Just wondering.
It's an argument.
It's a
from
terrible
authority.
argument.
It's a terrible argument to make. You can't. Anyone that's trying to make that argument, you can't do that.
So-
there is no
so wait,
correlation
wait,
between your playing days and success
you
as a
guys
player.
are now telling Hall of Fame elite all-time players that they are wrong about a locker room
Yes.
concept.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to make sure that you
Yes.
guys are telling Jerry Rice,
Yes.
Joe Staley,
Hey, Jason.
Frank Gore.
I don't
Frank
know.
Gore
Hey,
said something too.
I don't know if you know this, but you don't have to be a Hall of Fame player to have been in a locker room and experience what locker room culture's like.
right?
And each locker room each year has a different dynamic. Some
Right.
years there's people that are loud and are
Little more
loud leaders.
quiet,
And
yes.
some years they're quiet. There's a different way and a different swagger.
Well, whatever's
Was-
happening now,
Was
that
Joe
locker room is not
Montana a
working.
dog? Was Joe Montana a dog?
Absolutely,
Did Joe Montana speak in the locker room?
when he needed to.
Barely ever.
When he
Rarely
needed to,
ever.
exactly.
They said it was so much that it was like when E.F. Hutton spoke.
Exactly.
Because he only did it a couple
Carried
of times.
weight, though.
Yeah.
Carried
but
weight,
that's the thing is, you're saying it has to be continuous.
No, I'm saying that there needs to be somebody
Kyle Juszczyk.
who calls out
we just
the team,
said we just
somebody.
gave you
and
somebody.
the team actually responds and plays.
They did.
Brandon Ayuk
They
did.
won.
They responded really well last week.
They beat the Bears. What do you? So you think that
No,
after
Gary,
the
It has to be every week.
Every
huh?
week.
Every week you have to
Okay.
win football games.
Look at our guy Hunter Pence then. Called out the whole
tremendous
team.
leader, 100%.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Dog.
100%.
Called him out.
Agreed.
Went on a massive long run and won a World Series
Yeah.
because of that speech.
Yeah,
Book
it's also baseball where you play 162
Something, yeah.
games. Guess what?
They
You
were
play
down 0-2 at that point.
You don't recover from a loss in the NFL like you recover from a loss in baseball.
They were down 0-2. They couldn't lose anymore, else they'd been done.
I'm just saying.
100%. I'm
different.
Okay.
I'm
It's
telling
still
you
different.
It's different.
It's still different.
Locker rooms though.
Locker rooms are not the same, and if you think
Yeah.
they are,
Locker rooms
you
are not
don't
the same.
understand.
Well, locker rooms are
dichotomy.
different. Locker rooms are
No,
different in
but-
every sport, but locker rooms are also different for
There's
every
certain
team.
things that are
every
different,
team.
but there's certain things that are the same in every locker room.
But you also got to remember, besides Jerry Rice,
Some
the
Go on.
guys that you were talking about also have a media tendency, right? They've got to say things because now they're media members. Jerry Rice is the only one that he's not a media member.
Right.
So what Jerry Rice says
So should
normally,
that carry more weight then?
yes, it should.
Okay.
However, Jerry Rice has been wrong so many times. And we all have been wrong so many times. It's like you can't just take it because Jerry Rice said it and make it fact. It doesn't make it fact. You know what makes it fact? Is if
fact
those
that they're
people
3 and
no,
6?
if one of those players would go to Jerry Rice, if Debo Samuel went to Jerry Rice and said, "Man,
we
we
got no
just don't have
dogs.
those dogs. We don't have people." That
How
have
do we
Debo
know
Samuel."
that him
Is that what was said? Was that the quote?
Wouldn't Steve Young or Jerry Rice say that? Wouldn't Joe Staley say, "Hey,
I was just
somebody in
talking.
the locker room told me"?
Talking to like 3 or 4 of them in the
100%
locker room.
they would.
And they just don't feel like there's no dogs this year. There's no fight in this team.
Yeah,
They don't have that guy this year.
See, but that
See, if that happened, I can be mad at Joe Staley all I want. But what I really be upset about is who the dudes in the locker room that are going and talking the media personalities or people outside the locker room and complaining about the
Well,
locker
say,
room.
that's
Why
why
don't you
that-
step up
that
and be the dog?
would be the issue
Why don't
there.
you step up and be
Do
the
you
dog?
think also, Jason, you know about Bill Walsh pretty well.
I do.
Bill Walsh
Still the best coach ever. But yeah.
Agreed.
Accurate.
Bill Walsh was very famous for
Belichick,
calling
sorry.
out assistant coaches.
Yes.
For setting up situations to call out assistant coaches and getting a response from the player's position coach, for the position.
Yeah.
And they would respond with, wait, I can't let my coach down.
That's,
Could John Lynch, who's coming from that same train of thought, be doing that for Fred Warner?
I hope so.
By pointing out Fred Warner and saying he's actually not playing up to level, and Fred knows he's not playing to the level that he expected to play this year.
Yeah.
That he's, Alshier's going to be like, wait a second, I'm letting Fred down. Like all those guys can rally
Yeah,
behind.
Hold
Fred
up,
Warner.
very
Fred's
well-
on pace for 100+ solo tackles this
Which-
year, and y'all are calling Fred out. Man, I need to do more than holy
Yeah,
crap.
I'm
'Cause Fred's doing
letting my
everything.
guy Fred down.
it's right there in the Bill Walsh and the Phil Jackson playbook. I mean, both of those guys are notorious for throwing out a little jab there at somebody to get everybody else to respond.
Yeah.
And that's part of what made those two guys geniuses. Is in Bill's case, it also was a ton of X and O's, but
It revolutionized football.
absolutely. But with Phil, it was more manipulating people to get them to respond how he wanted to, and that's an art form. And if that's what John is attempting, then we're all wrong. And him being so public is brilliant.
It could be.
We'll see.
I mean, I thought it was very calculated with the Brian Ayuk. And
that one absolutely
I don't
was.
like talking through the media. I've been clear about that, but I
Once or
thought,
twice.
yeah, but I thought that them doing it may have worked, but it appears maybe it was Kyle Juszczyk that made it work.
Maybe it was a combo of it,
It could
too.
have been a combo.
Could have been.
Could have been all of the above.
But I have a problem with players sometimes making blanket statements about what is going on in the locker room.
I don't disagree with that.
Unless they know. Like I told you, if somebody
But-
told Jerry or Jerry was in the room and
My
saw it
guess
personally, that's
for
a different
Jerry
story.
to say that is someone must have said something to him.
Well, because it could be an outside observation. You said he's at all the games, right?
Yeah.
He might just be sitting there going, "Man, we just don't got the dogs."
But
You're talking about Jerry Rice too.
I
You're talking
know.
about dogs, but then didn't like the way Ricky Waters, Deion Sanders, and them handled their business. So what exactly? You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. That's why the edge wise, I think if you're talking about edge, we do miss some of that when George Kittle's out because George Kittle brings that energy. Fred Warner brings that energy. Those players are needed. So maybe you're going to see that energy come back now that George is going to be in week 2.
hopefully.
But I don't know. To me, it's always a concern. But no, I don't put anyone. I don't think because someone's a Hall of Famer that their opinion is valued in that kind of thing where you're talking about a perception more than it would be an actual hearing or X's and O's type thing.
That's fair, I guess.
Yeah, if there was actual like information, Jay, I would be with you. Like he would be like, hey, this happened. Brian Ayuk said this, or I overheard this. A coach told me
See,
that. I'd be like, I'm with you 100%.
If you go back and you listen to how Steve was saying it, it felt like Steve didn't want to say, "Oh yes, someone like Debo said to Jerry," because they do talk a lot. Like,
But he could just say a current player, Jason.
right?
He could say somebody.
But
player in the
even if he
49ers
says a
locker room.
current player, that still puts the locker room on blast.
He just
and-
did put the locker room on blast by making now a blanket statement that they have no dogs. He called out the entire locker room.
Yes,
when he could have
which
said now he heard
maybe-
it, which would have validated it.
But but if he says a player came and talked and told this to Jerry, Jerry told me this.
He could even say what I'm hearing from the locker room
But
is.
he kind of hinted at it though. Like he didn't say it directly, but he hinted.
I didn't get that feeling. I didn't get the feeling that he hinted
Well,
at it.
I mean, even if
Did
he
you actually listen to the interview?
Yes. I didn't get that feeling. Felt like a blanket statement. Like he was talking about the whole locker room as a whole, as if he was in
did
there
you-
and just
or
knows.
did you-
from witness? As if he's witnessed that
Read
no
it,
one.
or did you actually listen?
I
to
listened.
It? Okay.
Yeah, I listened to it as well. I don't trust always reading it because then you
Then
kind of
you
miss
can lose.
You
some of
miss
the
subtleties.
inflection, some of the
Yes,
context.
Exactly.
You miss
100%.
subtlety.
I think with Steve,
It's
I've
like
been
why
more.
texting people isn't as helpful as actually having a real conversation.
See, I've been more critical of Steve in the past. I thought that this one with the dogs, at first my initial response wasn't huge on it, but I thought that he was overall giving a perception of what he saw. But I thought we're attributing it to kind of the field. I know he was talking about the locker room, but I thought he meant it spilling out on the field. But that was just my perception of it.
Yeah, that's.
I guess time will tell.
100%. And we got to get into the drive. I'm sorry, we went off
Time
a little bit.
for the drive.
That was a fun conversation to have.
That it was.
So for the drive, Jason, you get to decide who goes first. Who would you like to go first? Ooh, I
okay.
like it.
Suspenseful. Also.
All right, B-Rabbit, here we go. Can the 49ers make the playoffs if they lose on tonight to the Los Angeles Rams?
If they lose tonight. God, that's tough because I've only got
8 seconds. Is that for
8
Steve?
seconds left.
Was that for Steve?
Essentially.
The results yesterday weren't great. We would like to see the Chargers take care of the Vikings and the Broncos help us. Now, at least those are non-conference games, but wins are wins and losses are still losses. Can they make it? I still think they can. I still think that 7 seed is going to be a 9-10 wins thing at this point tops. And San Francisco still has a lot of winnable games that they should be able to win. The Titans one has me a little more concerned now because they're playing really well in spite of not having King Henry. And when that first injury happened, I thought, oh, sucks for 2 of my fantasy teams, but it definitely gives us a better chance against them. And now I'm kind of iffy, but I think they still have a chance. Yes.
I see. Well, Jason thinks. I know.
You know.
I just know. Yes, of course they still have a chance to. They still have a chance to make the playoffs. It's not even a question. If you lose this game, even with the Vikings having won, even with the Eagles having won their football game, the Panthers having gotten one up as well, you're still a game back. You're a game back of the playoffs. The Saints are reeling. You talked about earlier, Christian McCaffrey going down and getting hurt. He always gets hurt. Well, that team has been an absolute shell of themselves when McCaffrey hasn't been on the field, and now you may be without McCaffrey for some time, or at least not 100% Christian McCaffrey. No one has still separated themselves here in the NFC. No one has separated themselves at all whatsoever, and because no one has separated themselves, the 49ers, even a game or 2 back, is not out of the picture. At this point of the season, the minute the Niners go back 3 games from 2 teams here in the NFC, that is when you can officially say the door is closed. Playoffs are a long ways away, and there's no hope anymore for the San Francisco 49ers. But until then, hope is still there.
Yeah, you've heard it here. Good arguments from both of you today. A very spirited conversation. 49ers have a very big game tonight against the Los Angeles Rams. It's going to be exciting. Can't wait to see who wins. Is it going to be the 49ers? Is it going to be the Rams? But I'm even more excited about who you think won this conversation. Was it Alex with his arguments today? Was it JHill? Or was it that you thought, each of them had good points in different, topics, and you think maybe someone won one, someone won the other? Let us know in the comment section down below. I'm curious what your feelings are on these topics and how you thought it went.
Absolutely. I would love to hear this one. This was a very spirited debate. Some things that we agreed on early, Jason, and then very, very, very quickly we went our own separate ways, and that's A-okay on face-off because, we all tend to view things slightly differently, but also at the same time, we do share some similarities, some.
Will Kyle's ownage over his younger staff continue? Because, or will Sean finally beat his teacher? That's what I'm very curious about this evening is getting Stafford. Will that be enough to actually get by the voodoo that Kyle can still apparently put on the Rams?
Of course, the meme you posted is one of my favorites. All of this to beat Jimmy Garoppolo.
It was good.
Yeah,
that was good.
That was a good meme. It was solid, Jason. It really was.
I do what I can.
It truly was solid. And the Rams, the Rams and 49ers have definitely gone about creating their teams in different ways. The Rams are trying to buy themselves a championship. They've been trying to buy themselves a championship
if it works,
since Todd Gurley, right? And since everything that's happened with that. And the 49ers have consistently been a team that has tried to develop that championship caliber team. There's been some bright moments in that, and there's been some down moments in that. Monday night is an opportunity, though, for the 49ers to get themselves a game closer in the playoff hunt. And like you said, Jason, for Kyle to get another one up on his younger counterpart over there in Sean McVay.
It was his Jedi stealth moves on him and see how it goes. I do kind of the Rams almost feel like they're more of an NBA team now. Like, we need no draft picks. We're just going to get every star that we possibly can and go. It's definitely an interesting dichotomy in franchise building 101.
And if it works, there'll be duplicators, people that are trying to do the same thing. And if it fails miserably, Sean McVay will be coming to San Francisco as our quality control coach.
That's right, Ant. That's right. What an excellent quality control coach we would have here in San Francisco. You know,
I do
right?
like Sean McVay a lot, by the way, Jason. The more and more I watch, I become a huge fan.
He's nice. Like he'd be a great OC for us.
He would. Yeah.
A lot of things have to happen in order for that to occur. Cutback crew, we hope you
It's never
enjoyed
gonna
this.
happen, but it's nice to dream though.
Make sure you comment down below. Make sure you're here after the game, post game. We got the reaction show for your faces, and head on over to Patreon where you got a faithless episode of Big Yikes that you're not going to want to miss. And until the next one, stay safe.
Remember, the right way
Is always the 49ers way.